what we'll be tackling is about the so what I'll be tackling for this afternoon, just like what I mentioned to you a while ago, is the production of English sounds. But for this part, or for the first part, I will be focusing on the different consonant sound. Oh, sorry, vowel sounds muna tayo. The next meeting will be more of the consonant sounds. Okay, so for this module, we will be distinguishing the distinctive features of the vowel sounds and consonant sounds, and to articulate articulate correctly the vowels, diphthongs, and consonants. Okay, so but before we move on to the different sounds of English, specifically on the vowel sounds, let's have to go back first on the process of the production of speech sound. We say that in order for us to produce different sounds of English or different sounds, it undergoes a different process. So these processes are called respiration stage, or the respiration alone, phonation, resonation, and articulation. So these are the four major processes that involved in order for us to produce the different sounds. So how do these four differ? So let's say, for instance, this is the different parts of our speech apparatus. So these are the main apparatus that involved in our speech production. So we have the nasal cavity here, and we have the nostril, the lip, the tongue, the teeth, the oral cavity, and the jaw, the lungs, the hard palate, the soft palate, the pharyngeal cavity, the larynx, the esophagus, and the trachea. And also, we have here the diaphragm. So how do these parts work together in order for us to produce the different sounds? Okay, so the first part is what we call the respiration. And when we speak of the respiration, it involves the breathing in of the air. So let's say, for instance, you breathe in the air. Okay, so the first part is that we breathe in the air. So when you breathe in the air, of course, it travels to the different parts of your body. Diba? Yung hangin. But as far as speech production is concerned, dumadaan yan dito sa part na yan. So the first stage is now what we call the respiration stage, wherein the basic unit in order for us to produce sound is the air. We need the air. And the moment that the air passes through our nostrils, it will travel through your pharyngeal cavity to your larynx. And then the air now, since yung air natin may pressure yan, it travels to your diaphragm. Okay? When our diaphragm is relaxed, it is on its dome shape. When we talk of dome shape, ganitong itsura niya. Yung nakikita nyo pa curve, that is when our diaphragm is on its relaxed position. So since the air, when we breathe in air, there is a pressure, what will happen to your diaphragm? So because of the pressure, that forces the diaphragm to flatten. So pa-flatten ng ating diaphragm when you breathe in the air. And since may pressure na doon sa diaphragm at it is now already flattened, so just imagine a rubber or a balloon na press ninyo, yung balloon, once you press the balloon, diba gumaganyan yan. So meron agad pressure doon. So once you breathe out the air coming from your diaphragm, the air bounces back. So bumabalik yung hangin. So when the air bounces back, it will now travel to your pharyngeal cavity. Ayan, which is now in the process of phonation stage. When we talk of phonation stage, you are now starting to produce sound. Meron ka na gan. So just imagine you breathe in and then you breathe out. You just open your mouth and then you will notice there, you will not actually notice or you will not actually hear any sound at all. But if you're just going to be more particular on that, you are already producing a sound. However, that sound is very weak. It is not that precise. Okay, so that happens now during the phonation stage. So the next stage is what we call the resonation. So in the resonation stage, it helps you to strengthen the sound. Kumbaga, it adds volume to the sound. So if you're just going to put your fingers on your Adam's apple, dito on your part, you could really feel that there is a vibration. So that vibration is already an indicator that the sound is now becoming distinct. So lumalakas na yung sound. So the vibrating sound that you feel on your throat indicates that the sound becomes stronger na. So mas lumalakas na yung sound. Okay? So that happens in your throat dito sa part na to. Okay? So parang katulad yan ng lastiko, yung rubber, yung elastiko, yung ginagamit yung pang Chinese garter. So 'di ba? Yung meron kasi tayo ritong a very thin muscle dito sa ating trachea. Meron tayong very thin muscle diyan. Dito sa part na to ng ating Adam's apple. Meron tayong very thin muscle diyan na kapag pumapasok yung hangin, ang tendency ng hangin is nagba-vibrate, gumaganyan siya. Okay? So, that helps now na parang mas lumakas yung air, yung sound na na-produce natin. So, that happens during the resonation stage. Now, how are we able to produce distinct sound? So, just imagine if you just open your mouth, the sound is not distinct. Although we can hear a sound, but the sound is not distinct. We cannot actually understand what the person is saying. So you just open your mouth and then you would like to say something and then you do not move your tongue, you do not move your jaw. It is just as is na naka You would like to say something but the person could not really understand you. Why? Because you are not moving your articulators. When we talk of articulators, these are our lip, our tongue, our teeth, and our jaw. So these are the four important parts of our articulators. When these articulators come in contact, meaning to say, nagdikit sila, it now makes the sound more distinct. Let's say, for instance, when you put your lower lip to your upper lip, and then you release the air, you're now producing a P sound. And now you would like to produce another sound. Let's say you add a vowel sound. Let's say part. So when all those articulators come in contact and work together, it makes now the sound more distinct. We are not actually aware of that because split second nangyayari talaga yung speech production. Split second lang. So when the moment that we utter a certain sound, let's say p, nagkakaroon agad doon ng production process, speech production process. So again, these are the four important processes that involve the speech production. Respiration is when you breathe in the air. You breathe in the air, and then when you breathe out, in phonation stage, you are producing a weak sound, and in resonation stage, it strengthens the sound, and in articulation, it makes the sound more distinct. Hence, we were able now to produce a more distinct words. So it is for that reason that there are some people who has really this difficulty on pronouncing words. because it could be one of the factor, of course, is cultural factor, wherein dun sa kanyang lugar ay iba yung wika na ginagamit nila, kaya nakaka-apekto yun sa pananalita niya. Just like in our case in the Philippines, di ba? We don't have the sound of F and the sound of V in Filipino. That is why whenever we are pronouncing words that has F and V, we pronounce it as P. And whenever there are words which has V, we pronounce it as a B. That is cultural factor, because in our everyday encounters, whenever we're talking, we're not using English naman, di ba? We are using Filipino as we speak with other people. For that reason, nadadala natin yun. So, I'm sorry for the sound of the dog. It's not our dog. Okay? So, this time, we will be focusing on physiological aspects. When we talk of physiological aspects, it has something to do with the different parts of our speech production system. Okay? Itong mga nabanggit ko, from nasal cavity down to our diaphragm. So, next, that is na-discuss ko na. Okay. So, let's skip this part. I already discussed the part. Okay. So, what happens during the speech production. So, again, just like what I mentioned to you, if you have deficiency, let's say you have a problem with your teeth sometimes, diba? Or most of the time when your teeth is not that properly aligned, so it becomes difficult for you to produce sounds. Let's say yung F, so sobrahan sa singaw. Kaya sinasabi laging, bakit parang singaw? Bakit bully siya sa S? Bakit bully siya sa F? Bakit siya bully sa ganitong sounds? It's because there must be a problem with the teeth. Okay, why is it that others has this difficulty on pronouncing, let's say earth, we pronounce as earth. Yung 3, we pronounce tree. Diba? Yung number 3, pronounce natin is number 3. So it's because there must be a problem with the articulators, because when your articulators come in contact and then there is a problem with your articulators, it really affects the production of sounds, because the air is not properly released. When the air is not properly released, it is affecting how we pronounce words. So now I will be discussing first the different vowel sounds. As you can see on this slide, so we have the so-called Vitor triangle. So Vitor triangle is actually a representation of our mouth. So if you're just going to turn on this side, this is actually the triangle that we are pertaining to. Okay, this is the triangle that we are pertaining to in Vitor triangle. So that's why it is a representation of our mouth. So it describes to us, Vitor triangle describes to us the different position, the position of our jaw, the movement of our tongue, and how we control the release of the air. So front, center, and back represents the movement of your tongue. Again, front, center, and back represents the movement of your tongue. Your tongue can move to your front, to the front of your mouth, or what they call it moves forward, or it may relax at the center, or it may move backward. So it refers to the movement of your tongue. Okay, so the high, the mid, and low represents the jaw movement. So when your jaw is closed, so that means that the jaw is low. When your jaw is abruptly open, it's just on relax one. I'm so sorry. When your jaw is closed, that means that the jaw is high. Again, let me repeat that one. Okay, when your jaw is closed, that means that your jaw is high. When it is abruptly open, that means that your jaw is at the middle. And then when your jaw is dropped, or sometimes we call the drop jaw, that means the jaw is lower. Okay, so this one is high. When you abruptly open your mouth, that is mid, and when it's drop jaw, that is low. Okay, so it refers to the movement of your jaw. Now you can see here that there are words that are written above. That means that you have to prolong the sounds. You have to prolong the sounds. If it is at the bottom part, it means short sound lang siya. Short air. Short release of air. If it is at the top, it means the air should be released long, or you have to prolong the release of the air. Long sound siya. Okay, so this is how we use the divider triangle, which will guide us in order for us to pronounce the words correctly. Okay, let's say for instance, we pronounce the sound of E. This is E, or the long E. It is produced when the tongue moves forward and the height of the jaw is high and the duration of the sound is long. We produce the sound of E. As in, we say B. So if you will be pronouncing the word, you will notice that E, when you pronounce the sound of E, your tongue moves forward. E. For sure, you can feel it inside your mouth. And then if you're just going to observe your jaw is somehow, your jaws are closed. E. And then we prolong the sound as in B. This time, let's describe the production of the E sound. The same is true with E sound. When we are pronouncing the sound of E, the movement of the tongue, that our tongue moves forward. Our jaw is high, and the duration of the sound is short. Hence, we produce the sound of E. So if you're just going to listen very carefully, beat. So they are not the same. Which is like before, diba? When we were in elementary, we were taught na beat and beat are homonyms, but actually they are never homonyms because of the difference in terms of how we prolong the vowel sounds. Beat. So they are not homonyms. Okay, so that is the first vowel sound, the E and then the E sound. Once again, E sound is produced when the tongue moves forward, the height of the jaw is high, and the duration of the sound is long. We produce the E sound when the tongue moves forward, the height of the jaw is high, and the duration of the sound is short. This time, we will proceed on the next vowel sound, which is the A and then the E sound. So the A sound is produced when the tongue moves forward and the height of the jaw is at the middle and the duration of the sound is long. So we say A. Yeah, that actually the ones that are these symbols that are presented in inside the, we call this the slash. They are the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA. So they serve as guide to pronunciation. So whenever you're looking at some dictionary that uses the International Phonetic Alphabet, you can see this slash symbol. So that those symbols that are presented inside the slash are the International Phonetic Alphabet that serve as a guide in pronouncing words. So going back to our discussion, so here is A sound, and then we have the E sound, which is short. So E sound is produced when the tongue moves forward. Okay, if you're just going to pronounce the sound of E, so you will notice that your tongue moves forward, E, eh, and the jaw height is just relax. Okay, eh. It's not abrupt. It is not that wide open. It's just abruptly open. Okay, and then the duration of the sound is short. And this one is my favorite sound. This actually makes the sound um, more American sound. This one. Okay, yung parang combination ng a tsaka e. Eh. So, this what makes American sound more distinct. Eh? Diba when you say back, okay, back, hat, hat. Okay, that what really makes us American sound more distinct among other sounds. So whenever you ask an American to speak a Tagalog word, and then they will say Tagalog, Tagalog. Okay, because yung anila, because in their culture, whenever they see that letter A, they pronounce it as a. But in our case, it's a. Okay, because in our sounds in Filipino, we don't have the sound of e. Diba? We don't have the sound of e. What we have is a. A, e, i, o. Ulang tayo sa atin. A, e, i, o. Kaya tayo, kapag nagpo-pronounce tayo ng words, let's say, yung hot sa atin, hot. Pero if you would like to sound like an American, say hat. Diba? So, how does it happen? How do this one is produce the sound? Sometimes we call, my former students once call it the Budoy sound. Eh? If you know Budoy, yung isa sa mga character na portray ni Gerald Anderson sa isang teleserye sa ABS-CBN. So, yung may estudyante ko yung kasagsagan ng kasikatan noong palabas na yun ni Gerald Anderson, ang tawag nila rito is Budoy sound. Sabi nila, sir, it sounds like Budoy. That's why we call it sometimes the Budoy sound. Okay, well, anyway, so it happens when your tongue moves forward and your jaw is dropped. But what happens when your jaw is dropped? It seems like it is gliding. Let's say if you will notice that your lower jaw is gliding slightly. Okay, your jaw is gliding slightly. It's saying hat. Okay, it's your lower jaw is gliding slightly. So that is the S sound, the hat, back. Okay, so the next vowel sound is ito yung tinatawag natin drop jaw na talaga. Drop jaw. It's perfectly a drop jaw. So we say Okay, Okay, it happens when your tongue is just on its relaxed position at the middle, at the center of your mouth, and then the jaw height is low. So since open yung bibig nyo, go, go, go. So go. So these are the first set of the vowel sounds. So that's how they produce. So these sounds were produced again when the tongue moves forward and depends on the jaw height and depends on the duration of the sound. So you really need to be particular on the duration. And this time, let's proceed on the next set of vowel sounds. So let's proceed now on the words that are on this set. So this one is the sound of oo. Oo. You will notice that when you pronounce the sound of oo, your tongue is slightly moving backward. Oo. Okay? So umuurong yung dila nyo konti. Oo. That indicates that the tongue is moving backward. Okay, so let's say for example, this is your tongue and this is the dome, the curved shape of your tongue inside your mouth. And then when you pronounce oo, gumaganyan siya ng konti. Oo. Okay? TikTok lang. Okay? And then the jaw height is high, of course, because the lower jaw and the upper jaw are tight, are close together. And then the duration of the sound is long. So, oo, for example, fool. Okay, then the second one or the counterpart of the oo sound is oo. The same way with the first sound, wherein when you produce the sound, you will notice that your tongue is moving backward, and then the jaw height is high. What made this two different again is the duration of the sound. So, oo is produced when you are releasing a short breath. Ooh. The other one is ooh. The other one is ooh. Okay, so that's the difference between these two. So the next one are the sounds of O and the sound of O. The sound of O and the sound of O. So this is the sound of O. So this happens, or this sound is produced when the tongue moves backward. So again, you will notice here that when you pronounce the sound of O, you will notice that the tongue is slightly moving backward. O, and of course, your lower jaw and your upper jaw are not that close. It is just relaxed. So there's no tension on this part. It's just relaxed. And then the duration of the sound is long. So you say O as in long. O, long. Okay. However, its counterpart is the sound of O. The sound of O. The sound of O. Wherein the same way with the sound of O, what made it different is that you just pronounce it with releasing a short breath. You say O. O, O. Okay, so we also have here some special English vowel sounds. So there are some instances that although we see that there are words, that there are some words that are, let's say some sounds that are represented in a word, but they are not actually pronounced sometimes, wherein we're just blending it. So let's say we don't say actor, we say actor, actor. So nagbe-blended the sound of T and the sound of R. Okay, the actor. So this time, we have the sound of E here. We don't say beard, beard, kasi meron tayong E sound dito. We don't say beard, we say bird. So nagbe-blend na yung B and R, bird. Okay? This one sometimes pronounced as ago, or go. Sometimes nawawala na yung sound, naging shwa. When we talk of shwa, nagkakaroon ng mga silent sound na hindi na natin masyadong napopronounce. We call it the shwa. So dito naglagay tayo ng shwa, kaya meron tayong symbol na ganito. There are some English sounds na nagsushwa. Pero like on this example natin dito na ago, hindi tayo nagshwa. Pero sometimes go, hindi natin narinig yung diba? Yung mga mabilis magsalita. So nagsushwa. So this one is blood. Okay. So these are some of the guides lang naman on itong mga nasa gitna, because there are some words that are really blending, that the vowel sounds were not pronounced, wherein the sounds are blended with the other sounds. That is why, because of the blending, we're not actually hearing some sounds, some vowel sounds on a certain word. Okay, but the good thing about it is that you have to be more particular on this sounds outside of this triangle. The E, the E, the E, the A, the E, the A, the U, O, and O. So these are some of the prominent, or most of the prominent sounds that we can hear in a certain word. Okay, so again, biter triangle guides us in order for us to pronounce the words correctly. It guides us on the movement of the tongue. So let's say, for example, if you will be pursuing, let's say, speech as a speech pathologist, so ito sa maginawang speech pathologist, whenever they are correcting someone to pronounce the words, or if, let's say, for example, you would like to ask us if your students, why is your students have this difficulty on pronouncing the words, setting aside the cultural aspect. Kasi if cultural aspect is also considered, but it can be corrected pa naman. It can be corrected. Considering na okay naman yung mga articulators na. It's just that there is a need to guide the students on where to place the tongue and where to place the articulators properly in order for them to produce the sound correctly. So in our discussion with the consonant sounds, I'll be teaching you the points of articulation and the manner of articulation. So these are two different things. The points of articulation and the manner of abstraction, sorry. Points of articulation has something to do with where to place properly the different articulators in order for you to produce the sound. The manner of abstraction has something to do with how you will control the air in order for you to correctly pronounce those different consonant sounds. Okay? So, yun yung pag-aaralan natin in consonant sounds.